So what we should be doing is not know your customer rules. What we should be doing is know your banker rules, KYB, and know your government, KYG. Guess what? They're funding the war criminals. They're funding the terrorists. They're paying the arms dealers. And they're doing it using the banking system that they're supposedly doing oversight on.
It's amazing to me that we're looking at Tor browsers and we're looking at crypto emails, and yet people don't even think about their spending habits, which say more about you than your browsing habits.
Right.
And yet all that information is in these banks or these credit card companies that we don't even think twice of. And I would argue that those can predict your future behavior by a factor of 10 to your browsing habits, or something very, where you put your money says a lot about you. And so that information should be something you take very, very seriously.
Most people do not assume they need privacy. And the reason they do not assume they need privacy is because they haven't been persecuted because of their financial activity yet. If you go to some of the countries where they have been, they know that's not something to really feel safe about. In most modern developed nations today, we accept the notion that state and church should remain separate. Why? Because hundreds of thousands of people died through religious persecution when state and church were joined at the hip. You won't really accept the notion that I take for granted, and many people who are in our space take for granted, that state and money should be separate. And the only way to learn that lesson is until people are persecuted for their financial activity. Because if you give the power of government over the church, or if you give the power of government over money, they will use it. And in countries where the government is criminal, they will use it to oppress people. And so having self-expression, the power of assembly, association, expression through commerce in your financial activities and separating state and money should be a no-brainer. It's not yet. I hope we don't have to learn that lesson the hard way.
How is this going to play out in the next 10 or 20 years? How is the hard way going to happen, do you think? I mean, I'm sure you can think of scenarios where you hope this doesn't happen. But like you said, it's going to have to be a lesson we're going to probably have to learn the hard way.
Yes.
Because I have people on here all the time. I have Annie Michon talking about privacy. I had Cory Doctorow over here the other day talking about intellectual property and the fact that we don't even think that we don't even own our IP anymore.
Right.
And everyone's they let it go off their back because it doesn't immediately threaten them.
Right.
It's like smoking the one cigarette. You don't think about that you're going to get lung cancer.
What the London Real Investment Club actually does for you, it gives you the keys to open that door to the inside deals. In the last 3 weeks, I've participated in 3 incredible deals: a layer 2 Bitcoin protocol, an incredible AI protocol. The deal flow is beyond what I expected. I don't think I've ever seen a model like this that just gives average folks the opportunity to be behind the deals, and that's exactly what we've done. Not only that, you get to hang out with Brian Rose every week. And for me, that was huge because I look at Brian as somebody who's not only an expert in the space, and I think is on the leading edge, but just the leading edge of thought with London Real and the work he's doing there. To anyone who's taking a serious look at this, I know it's a big decision. It was a big decision for me and my family, and it is one of the best decisions I've ever made. So I wish you all the best and hope you come join us.
Cancer in 30 years. How are we going to learn this lesson? How's it going to play out?
I hope we don't learn it the hard way, but, ask a Greek, ask a Cypriot, ask an Argentinian, ask a Venezuelan, ask a Brazilian. They've learned the lesson the hard way, sometimes many, many times over a single generation. Sinclair Lewis wrote a fantastic book called It Can't Happen Here, about the rise of fascism in developed countries. We're now seeing it all across Europe and, in my opinion, in the United States. That is a potent lesson for people. These are the tools of government. And when you give these tools to government, you have to assume what happens if you have a bad election. We just had one in the US, in my opinion. In fact, either way, the outcome would have put the hands and tools of government in the hands of an authoritarian leader. Trump, Clinton, same thing. And now we have an authoritarian leader who has drone power, torture power, surveillance power. What happens if you have a similar bad election in the UK, where the surveillance powers are 10 times stronger? What happens when France goes down that road? It'll be ironic if in the 21st century Germany saves the rest of the world from fascism. And we're seeing this. Totalitarian systems are expanding, and it's largely the result of economic distress. Economically distressed populations look for a scapegoat and believe in populist extremist rhetoric, and gradually the bonds that hold society together, the institutions that keep us civilized and keep us free, start corrupting and eroding and collapsing. There's ways to stop that. And part of these ways to stop that is to trust our neighbor more than our government, is to have hope for humanity and be optimistic instead of succumbing to kind of the base instincts of scapegoating and demonizing those who are different from us. And money is certainly one aspect of that. It's a fundamental aspect of social cohesion. It's a language of expressing value to each other, and it's a tool that has always been in the hands of individuals. And if you give that to government, they will use that power for evil.
Isn't it funny how we're talking about a cryptocurrency technology that's about money? And if we go down that rabbit hole far enough, we end up saying it's about you and me and
Yes.
how we relate to each other as people. And if we want to get somewhere as a human race, we need to figure this out. So it's not about tech and it's not about cash.
No, it's not.
It's about human rights.
It's absolutely about human rights, because what most people don't realize is that money plays a fundamental role, just like language and culture, in allowing human organization to scale beyond a band of 100 people or so, and to create cohesion in societies that are larger. Without trade, social cohesion falls apart very quickly. Without money, the bonds that tie together and make an economy function, a large city like London, these things start collapsing very quickly. And you see in failed states, very quickly after the failure of currency, you have the failure of social institutions, and things devolve very, very fast after that.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.